Hi and welcome to exercise 6 of topic 1, where we are being asked to write a program that reads the radius of a circle as a float and computes and prints the area of the circle up to 3 digits after the decimal point. You can ignore negative radiuses by treating them as regular radiuses, so actually that's telling you that you don't have to take this into account. And as a general rule to these exercises from now on, if it's not specifically asked as being something you have to handle as an exception, you can ignore it. So we're going to expect users to behave well unless we explicitly ask you to take something into account. So work for the happy path first, and then add any exceptions we ask you to take into account. But if we don't ask them, you don't have to take them into account whatsoever. What do we have as a hints here? So first of all, we of course need to understand what the area of a circle is, and I'm going to give you this. Okay, so the area of a circle would be pi times r squared. Okay, so area of a circle, that's pi r squared, like this. Okay, and of course if you don't know it, you have to look it up, and you of course can ask it us as well. It's not about math, it's about translating this to a computer language, in this case JavaScript. So we need to ask the user a floating point as a radius. So let's make a const out of it, r, or radius, okay, being whatever comes from the keyboard, but we're going to try and parse it to a float. So parse float, whatever comes from the keyboard, and that's of course io.read. Okay, and I can ask a question here just to give a hint to the user. Okay, give the radius of a circle. There we go. And once we get this radius, so io.read basically is going to give a prompt, give the radius of a circle, and then you're going to be allowed to add something there, and everything added up to the enter or the return is going to be taken and given to this function parse float, in which the computer is going to try to make sense out of this input by converting it into a float. We're going to expect this to behave well. We're going to expect this program to have an actual floating point number as a radius. And once we have this radius, we can just print the area of a circle. So that's of course with io.write, and I have to print the area of the circle, which is of course math times r squared. So we can do several things at once here. So let's try to come up with pi. Pi of course is a number which you can look up, and it's 3.14, 15, 9, 2, 6, and so on. But there's a const inside the JavaScript libraries, actually in the math library, where you have several functions, as we will see later on, but you also have pi as a const there. Okay, and we can multiply it times the radius and against times the radius, which is of course radius squared. Okay, or you could do it like this. You could use the power operator and say it's radius squared. Okay, this would take higher precedence, so radius squared would be calculated first and then times math.pi. If you're not sure of precedence, you can always add brackets. Okay, let's see if the program works. It probably won't, okay, but let's find out. So we need the surface example here, run it, and it doesn't work, okay? So to begin with, first test tells me that he expects 0.000 and he gets 0 from us. Second one gives us 3.141592 and so on, so that seems to be pi, but it expects 3.142, so rounded to the third decimal, and here we have the same problem. So the problem we have is that it's not rounded. But there's a second hint. In JavaScript, you can convert a floating point number to a string using toFixed. So it's the inverse of parse float. Parse float tries to make sense out of a string, converting it to a float, and we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to take the float back to, or any float back to a string, and we can give it the number of digits it should round to, okay? So of course, be careful, because I see a lot of people taking the example here and do something like this, okay? Dot toFixed, and we need to do it to 3 digits, and so students do this. But of course, watch out, because now you're rounding math, and they can taking this rounded version of not math, pi, and you're taking this rounded version of pi into the equation, and that's of course not what we want, because the final equation or the final result will still be not rounded to 3 digits, and you will not have pi to the fullest in your equation. So you cannot do this. Okay, so this is just an example of how to use toFixed. You can slam it to any number and give the number of digits you want in the string version. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to take the whole result, put it into brackets, and fix this to 3 digits. Okay. Let's see if the tests run. Oops, no. We have now something off because we get another number. Okay, that's because of the, no, I don't know why it is, but it gives me another number. So let's see what's happening. And well, what I was about to do is actually tell you about how annoying this is to read. So what we're going to do is start using extra variables to explain to the user, a human being, okay, not a computer, what we mean by all this. And we can elaborate our story, we're telling a story, by adding extra variables which we can give names, and names make up words into the story, into the sentences. So what is this about, okay? This is actually what we could call the area of the circle. Okay, there we go. And well, since we had a problem, let's try and check first what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to test it first myself. Okay, I'm going to print this area. You could do it with a debugger. Let me do that as well, but first I'm just going to write it, so I'm not going to use the tests now. I'm just going to use the terminal, and I'm going to execute circle surface, give the radius of a circle, so I'm going to give 1, because then I will have 1 squared, which is still 1, times pi, so this should give me pi. And it gives me another number, okay? So expect that the problem would be in here. So what I'm going to do is just revert to the old version, radius times radius, see what's happening now. Okay. It's still not a number, so we must be doing something wrong here. Let's see. Let's print radius first. Okay. Voila. No, I need to use the terminal. So I'm going to give it 1 again, and the radius seems to be 1. So it's not in the parsing, it's not in the reading. Oh yes, of course. I still added toFixed here, okay, which is totally wrong. And now I can see what's going on. It's good that you see me make errors and introduce bugs, because that's actually what it's all about in programming. Okay, so I'm not going to try to hide this from you. So now we have 3.1415, because of course 1 squared times pi is just pi. Okay, this seems okay. So now I'm probably doing all right if I'm going to try this. Okay, and I can revert back to taking the square by using this power operator. This is radius to the power of 2. Okay, let's run the tests. Still not a number. Yes, because I have to repair my fault here as well. Okay, and now the tests pass. Okay, so originally I had math.py.toFixed, which was wrong, but I deleted the 3 and I left 2Fixed, which is totally wrong. What's happening here? I have the whole equation calculating the area, and then I fix it to 3 digits after the decimal point, which of course converts it to a string. Now, this might be hard to read, and I actually added to the story a new variable that tells me that this strange equation is just the area of a circle getting calculated. So math times r squared. Okay, and so you don't need comments. You can actually express yourself in the language at hand. Okay, so don't use comments to explain stuff in English. If you can explain it in JavaScript, do it in JavaScript. Area now is a clear name for this equation. So if you don't understand the equation, you can now read it and okay, this is the area. Okay, and this is also a lot easier, because now you see me write the area but fix it to 3 digits after the decimal point. Let's run the tests once more, which are okay. And I guess this concludes stuff for exercise 6 of topic 1.